What is up, you beautiful motherfuckers? Welcome to 2024. Just got back. I was in Phoenix last week. Had a client. We were doing an annual, kicking off the budget. We built them for those of you there that are watching, right? It was a great time. I did want to mention, though, I have a few amazing crowdcasts coming up that I'd love for you or your team to join with me. On Valentine's Day, actually, you know I love service managers, and also my boy Todd Kane, he is going to join me again. We're going to do an AMA for just service managers. So make sure to add it to your calendar. It'll be in the newsletter. Also, I'm going to be helping out my good friends at Orbital Fire, Reg Harnish. We're going to be moderating a panel, and more details to come about that one later. And then last, keep tabs with me on LinkedIn, as we have a lot of exciting things coming here pretty soon with Empath. And I can't say exactly what's going to happen, but we're getting ready. One more thing, I will be at Right of Boom. I just went ahead and booked everything, so let's meet up. Drop me a line. All right, but I'm fired up, guys. So rad. Let's spin up something heavy today. Maybe something more like rock and roll Foo Fighters, but I'm going to share how I would start a new MSP in 2024 that goes against most of today's modern conventions. Let's roll the intro. So why do I want to do this? Well, over the last couple of years, I've gotten this question quite a few times, and I got it again last week. Kyle, if you started an MSP today, what would you do? Would you do anything differently? Would you do anything the same? Would you do something against the grain, or would you go all into cyber? Or would you go all into whatever the theme of the month is? And I'm going to get into it, but this will be in 3 parts. I'm going to establish some rules and my conclusion, the who and the what. But the second video, I'm going to write the strategy plan, right? I'm going to go into the why I decided to go into some of these things. And I think you'll want to stay tuned, because in that third video, I'm going to actually show you how I would execute this plan to make sure that I started a brand new MSP in 2024. So I didn't want to approach this with any cheat codes. I wanted to make this 100% organic. So what are some of the rules that I put around myself? Well, the constraints is that I'm a younger entrepreneur and this is my first business. And also I only have 6 months of living expenses saved up, so I have to sink or swim. And if I don't have living expenses by the time 6 months is up, I gotta find a job and I lose the game. Last but not least, I'm gonna put those living expenses in my backyard in California, so I'm gonna put them around $3,000–4,000 a month. But when I jump ship, I will have about $25,000 in my pocket to get this going. I'm gonna be at around a strong tier 2 level. However, as we've discussed in my resilience episode, I am slightly risk averse, so I can't take any super risky moves in my plan. And also, I'm not gonna have any NDAs or non-competes. I'm not gonna get into any of that stuff. I'm not gonna be stealing clients or talent. Honestly, I don't need to. So with what I know now, if I could rewind and do it all over again, here's what I would do with knowing today. I did this with a bad idea exercise. You know I love doing this. So I went to the whiteboard. And when I went to the whiteboard, I wanted to say, what are all the things that were in my head? So I went for a run and I went wild. What is everything that in my last MSP bugged the hell out of me? What are the things that just ended up biting me in the butt? What are those things that I wish I had never promised? And as I've worked with all these rad MSPs that are out there, what are some things that I've always seen them have to pull out or have to rewind from that just never really went anywhere, right? What are the things that I try to beat out of them senselessly? First and foremost, everything's gonna be 50% gross margin. That's it. I am not doing business for anything less. So if I'm starting on day 1, I'm not gonna change that. ACH auto pay. I'm not paying wiring fees. I'm not paying credit card fees. It makes the finances just that much more crazy. If you don't wanna pay by check, I'm just not gonna take your business. It's just gonna be a hard and fast. Avoid procurement and distribution. Some other things that are crazy on here. Compliance needing clients just costs too much time. So I had the thought of like, do I just avoid compliance? Cybersecurity, right? You've heard me say it before. I put something in here about being the Spirit Airlines of MSP, where if they try to call me, it's gonna be a charge. 1 million ARR or bust. I gotta get to 1 million as fast as possible, but I need to do it through recurring revenue. It's kind of like, you know, lying to myself a little bit about how big my business is getting. Indemnification letters for anything the client says no to. I should probably really early on to look into some counsel to write me some agreements where if they tell me no, or if I tell them I can't, it comes with a letter saying, hey, here's my buddy, go talk to them. You are the BDR until you're not. I've done a lot of calls. I've done a lot of episodes of Elephant in the Room. And at this point, I am such a believer in outbound strategies, being able to own the output of your sales strategy, that I just got to own it. Wait till I get to about 500,000 in ARR with anyone that's locally based, right? Tier 2 that can do field or projects. That went around my head. There's a lot on here, right? And I'll post a link to the graphic in the description if you kind of want to look at all of this. But this was kind of how I went through my thinking process. So I started to do a lot of math, right? I started to build my business plan. I started to build the strategy. I started to really dial in what would day 1 look like, what would day 0 look like, and what would the first year look like. So from all of these ideas, here is what I came with. I would create a client profile that fits nicely into a very attainable target market, right? San Diego, it's in my backyards. And I would go after small businesses that have between 4 and 10 employees. So many are proud to say that they would never take a client this small. I'm gonna find a way to take advantage of that target market. I would build a price that would limit the amount of objections a prospect could say no to, right? Keep it simple. I would try to keep it between $500 and $750 a month per client. This would eliminate any competition, drastically reduce objections, and simplify the conversation. Furthermore, right, this is far lower than most IT spends, so it would save the clients money and prevent any back and forth on, could you do time and material at $500 a month, Mr. Client? If you can't afford that, time and materials, it's not even worth my time either. I would remove inbound support for the price. What do I mean by that? Tickets could be made through voicemail, email, text, instant messages. I would figure out how to get them in, but it would be handled on a you call, I answer basis, meaning you're not going to be able to call me. Charge for all projects and on-site visits. With this new work from home model, I'm really not worried about this. No T&M clients. I'd be so hellbound that if they called me for help from a referral, it's probably a sign that my name is starting to get out there. But I'd be disciplined in saying no. But Kyle, they want to try before they buy. What the hell are you talking about? Try what? I'm one guy with an assistant charging $500 month to month. Fire me on month 2 if I suck. And on that note, cat's out of the bag, I wouldn't do an annual commitment. I would jump right into a month-to-month engagement because the price is where, well, most of your clients aren't going to fire you after one bad month or 1 month that they don't call you too often. The price is low enough for some businesses to where they're going to be more flexible, and flexibility is what I need in the first year. I would do 0 procurement or distribution. And this one I had to wrap my head around a little bit. For things like 365, new workstations, right, software, honestly, for most of these, I would have the clients just pay direct. I would say, Mr. Client, I'm setting up your 365 environment. I need your credit card to put in the interface. But there's so many things that I need to accomplish in the first year. And to get to, $250,000, $500,000 in revenue, it's one thing that I can afford to put off. If you've seen my video about margins don't blend, right, I've gone into this at length. I'm not gonna really fight after 16% margin, because as you saw, one of the constraints is I wanna maintain 50% gross margin at any cost. I'd have 2 automatic price related processes. So those would be every 5 clients, I would make my price go up, right? I got confidence, I got a process going. It would probably take me, 5-6 months to get to this point. 2, every 10 clients, I would have 2 existing clients get an increase, meaning client number 1 and number 2 in that first round of 10, I would go ahead and probably increase them 10 to 15%. Now, I would also avoid clients that have compliance or cyber needs. And this was a tough one because while as much as I do love cybersecurity, right, I've built an MSSP, you've seen the videos I've done with Wes, I would probably just call up my buddy Reg Harness and recommend they use Orbital Fire. They're the experts and I'm not, or do I have the time? So that indemnification letter would come in real handy to say, hey, go with Reg, sign this letter and you're good to go. I would be stackless. And this one's really starting to grow in my head. I think so often we've obsessed about our stack that it's really gotten in the way of how we operate our business. It's only going to be me and possibly a few employees. I'm gonna keep that 50% gross margin. That's just one that I've seen it happen. I know it's possible. I've done it. I've had clients do it at larger scales. Now, on that note, in the first year, I would probably go for 50% net margin, because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna have a paycheck as a new owner. So any little extra cash that I can bring in the business is going to substitute that paycheck I'm no longer getting. Automation would be extremely light. Things like auto pay, patching, ticket entry would be really my focus. I'd want to build a foundation that might be a little bit heavy and bulky, but is easy to implement. And then I will look to save time down the road. I would do all projects after hours or on the weekends, right? This is going to be billable. And if you decide to watch the next video where I show the cash flow model, it's always going to flow right to the bottom. So these projects and after hour work is really what's going to help me as the owner pay my bills, or have a regular life and not just eat top ramen. So being that said, I also want to make sure that all of the hours between 8 and 5 are maximally available for new clients. If I do them during business hours, I'm not picking up the phone and calling my clients. And last but not least would be putting as much time into outbound sales strategies that I could. Things like door pulls, right? Go to a business park and just walk into every business that's there. Phone calls. Go to Google Maps and look at a radius of all the businesses next to you and just start dialing. Events. Everywhere is chamber events, small business events, networking events. I'd be going there just showing my face, shaking hands, and meeting people. LinkedIn, you guys know I love it. Wouldn't stop anything there. I would just be a little bit more, let's call it aggressive and on edge on how I was engaging with people. But that would be consistently get 50% or more of my day. So, at the end of the day, this is what I would do. Now, again, this is a 3-part series where I am going to break down why I would do each of the above. I'm going to show you some of the math and evidence on why I really built the foundation to make this video. And to end this series, I'm going to show you how I would go about my day every day for the entire first year. I hope to see you all around this year. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Let's have a conversation. Leave some comments on what you think about my strategy for starting a new MSP. Was there anything that you thought I would say? Anything that I didn't say? Is there anything that you don't agree with? I would love to meet you. As always, stay accountable.